I used to believe that holding on tightly to everything, my job, my relationships, my possessions, was the only way to feel secure and happy. But the truth hit me hard. Sometimes the only way to truly find happiness is by learning what to let go. This is not about loss. It's about freedom. If you're ready to discover how sacrifice can actually bring you peace, keep watching. In today's fast-paced world, we often find ourselves caught in a whirlwind of expectations, desires, and external pressures. We chase after material possessions, status, and validation, believing that they will bring us happiness. However, as many have discovered, true happiness is not found in these external factors, but in something much deeper: detachment. What does detachment mean? Detachment is often misunderstood. In the simplest terms, detachment refers to the ability to separate oneself from external attachments. These attachments can be physical, such as possessions or money, emotional, such as relationships or specific outcomes, or psychological, such as certain beliefs or fears. Detachment does not mean indifference or lack of care, but rather the ability to not be overly influenced or controlled by these external factors. Detachment is the art of letting go of things that do not serve our higher purpose. It involves recognizing that our happiness is not contingent upon what we own, who we know, or how we are perceived. Instead, happiness comes from within, from understanding our true self, and from embracing peace and contentment without being shackled by the need for external validation or possessions. What is happiness? Happiness is a state of well-being and contentment, a sense of inner peace and fulfillment that arises from living in alignment with our true values. It is not a fleeting emotion or momentary pleasure. Rather, it is a sustained state of being that comes when we release ourselves from the constant desire for more possessions, more approval, more success, and more recognition. True happiness is deeply connected to the concept of detachment. When we learn to detach from the things that weigh us down, we free ourselves to experience a deeper, more lasting form of happiness. This happiness is not dependent on external circumstances or events, but is rooted in our internal sense of peace, acceptance, and self-awareness. The importance of letting go. The need for letting go is perhaps more important than ever in our modern society. We live in a world that constantly encourages us to acquire, achieve, and compete. The messages we receive from advertising, social media, and even our personal relationships often imply that happiness is something we must attain or possess. However, this pursuit often leaves us feeling empty, anxious, and overwhelmed. Letting go is essential because it allows us to release the things that drain our energy, create unnecessary stress, and distract us from what truly matters. By detaching from these things, we create space in our lives for genuine happiness, peace, and fulfillment. Letting go means releasing the grip on outcomes we cannot control and trusting that everything will unfold as it should. Overview of the concept. The concept of detachment and its connection to happiness has been explored in various spiritual traditions and philosophies. From Buddhist teachings on non-attachment to Stoic practices of focusing on what we can control, many wisdom traditions emphasize the importance of detachment as a pathway to happiness. These teachings remind us that true happiness is found in the acceptance of life's impermanence and the freedom that comes from not being bound by external circumstances. In the upcoming sections, we will explore what we need to let go of in order to experience happiness, why detachment leads to a deeper sense of peace, and practical steps to embrace this concept in our daily lives. The things we need to let go of. In our quest for happiness, it is essential to identify and release the attachments that bind us. These attachments come in many forms, and each one serves as a barrier to achieving inner peace and contentment. Letting go of these attachments is not always easy, but it is necessary for our growth and happiness. 1. Attachment to materialism. Materialism, the excessive desire for physical possessions, is one of the most common attachments that people struggle with. We often believe that acquiring more things will bring us happiness: a bigger house, a better car, more clothes, or the latest gadgets. However, the pursuit of material wealth can quickly lead to emptiness. The happiness we experience from acquiring new possessions is often temporary, and once that initial excitement fades, we find ourselves chasing after more. The problem with materialism is that it ties our happiness to external factors that are beyond our control. If our happiness depends on the things we own, then we are constantly at the mercy of our circumstances. True happiness, however, comes from within, not from possessions. By letting go of our attachment to material things, we can focus on what truly matters: relationships, personal growth, and meaningful experiences. 2. Attachment to negative emotions. Another significant attachment that holds many people back is their emotional baggage. Emotions such as anger, resentment, jealousy, and regret can take up a great deal of emotional energy, and often they are tied to past events. Holding on to negative emotions is like carrying a heavy burden that weighs us down. Letting go of negative emotions doesn't mean we should ignore or suppress them. Rather, it means acknowledging these emotions, learning from them, and then releasing them. When we hold on to negative feelings, we give them power over us, and they become an obstacle to our happiness. By practicing forgiveness and emotional release, we can create space for peace, joy, and love in our lives. 3. Fear of failure and rejection. Fear of failure and rejection is one of the most paralyzing attachments. We all fear failing or being rejected by others, but the truth is that failure and rejection are part of the journey to success. Holding on to the fear of failure often prevents us from taking risks, trying new things, and stepping outside our comfort zone. The fear of rejection, on the other hand, is closely linked to the need for validation. We may feel that our worth is dependent on the approval of others, which causes us to avoid situations where we might be rejected. However, when we let go of the fear of failure and rejection, we free ourselves to grow, learn, and embrace the opportunities that come our way. We begin to understand that our worth is not defined by others' opinions, but by our own actions and values. 4. Unhealthy relationships. Sometimes we become attached to relationships that are unhealthy or toxic. These relationships may drain our energy, create emotional stress, or prevent us from growing as individuals. Whether it's a toxic friendship, a controlling partner, or a family member who constantly undermines us, unhealthy relationships can have a profound impact on our well-being. Letting go of unhealthy relationships can be difficult, especially when we fear the consequences of doing so. However, holding on to these relationships only keeps us trapped in cycles of negativity and self-doubt. By releasing ourselves from these attachments, we create space for healthier, more supportive relationships that nourish our growth and happiness. 5. The need for constant validation. In today's social media-driven world, the need for validation is more prevalent than ever. We constantly seek approval from others, whether it's through likes on a post, praise for our achievements, or the opinions of those around us. While it's natural to want affirmation, relying too heavily on external validation can leave us feeling insecure and dependent on the approval of others. When we let go of the need for constant validation, we shift our focus from seeking approval to cultivating self-worth. We learn to validate ourselves, recognizing that our value does not depend on how others perceive us. By doing so, we empower ourselves to live authentically and confidently, without the need for external validation. 6. Excessive control. The desire to control every aspect of our lives is another attachment that can prevent us from experiencing happiness. We often believe that if we can control the outcome of every situation, we can avoid discomfort or failure.
8.
However, life is inherently unpredictable, and trying to control everything can lead to frustration, stress, and anxiety. Letting go of the need for excessive control means accepting that there are things beyond our power. It involves trusting the process of life and having faith that things will unfold as they are meant to. By surrendering the need to control every outcome, we create room for flexibility, spontaneity, and joy. Why letting go leads to happiness. Letting go is not just about releasing external attachments or detaching from material things. It is a powerful and transformative practice that brings about lasting happiness. When we let go of the things that weigh us down, negative emotions, toxic relationships, the need for validation, and the obsession with control, we create room for joy, peace, and inner fulfillment. Here are the reasons why letting go is key to experiencing true happiness. 1. Emotional freedom. One of the most profound benefits of letting go is the emotional freedom it brings. Negative emotions such as anger, resentment, jealousy, and regret can create emotional blockages that hinder our ability to experience happiness. These emotions often stem from our attachments to past events or outcomes, and when we hold on to them, we remain trapped in a cycle of pain. Letting go of these negative emotions allows us to release the grip they have on our hearts and minds. This release is not about forgetting the past, but about choosing to not let those experiences define our present or future. By forgiving others and ourselves, we free ourselves from the burden of carrying these emotions, which opens up space for love, peace, and joy. Emotional freedom is about choosing how we respond to situations. It's the ability to feel and experience emotions without being controlled or overwhelmed by them. By letting go of emotional attachments, we become more resilient, adaptable, and capable of living in the present moment, which is where happiness resides. 2. Simplifying life. The more we accumulate, the more we have to manage, and the more complicated our lives become. We collect material possessions, responsibilities, and expectations, all of which create a sense of overwhelm and stress. The pursuit of more can leave us feeling drained, distracted, and unfulfilled. By letting go of the unnecessary and simplifying our lives, we can focus on what truly matters. When we detach from material possessions and external pressures, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of acquisition and maintenance. This simplification brings clarity and a sense of purpose, allowing us to prioritize our values, relationships, and personal growth. A simplified life is a life focused on the essentials. It's about choosing experiences over things, relationships over appearances, and inner peace over external validation. As we release the clutter, both physical and emotional, we create more space for what brings us joy, fulfillment, and happiness. 3. Inner peace. Inner peace is the foundation of true happiness. When we are at peace with ourselves, we no longer feel the need to chase after external circumstances to make us happy. We learn to embrace our imperfections, accept the ebb and flow of life, and let go of the need for control or certainty. Detachment leads to inner peace because it helps us release the things that disturb our mental and emotional well-being. By letting go of the need to control outcomes, we allow life to unfold naturally, without resistance or fear. Inner peace comes from accepting things as they are, without clinging to the past or fearing the future. When we cultivate inner peace through detachment, we become less reactive to external events. We develop a calm, steady state of being that is not easily disturbed by challenges, setbacks, or the opinions of others. This peace is the bedrock of happiness, as it allows us to experience joy regardless of what is happening around us. 4. Personal growth and fulfillment. Letting go is also a catalyst for personal growth. When we detach from limiting beliefs, fear, and the need for validation, we create space for self-discovery and transformation. We stop living according to the expectations of others and start living in alignment with our true selves. Personal growth occurs when we are no longer bound by our attachments. We begin to recognize our own potential, and we have the courage to pursue our passions, dreams, and goals. This growth leads to a deep sense of fulfillment, as we realize that our happiness comes from living authentically and with purpose. As we let go of the things that no longer serve us, we make room for new experiences, opportunities, and relationships that contribute to our growth and happiness. Personal fulfillment comes from embracing our true selves and stepping into our full potential, free from the constraints of attachment. 5. Freedom from external validation. One of the most common sources of unhappiness is the constant need for validation from others. We seek approval, praise, and recognition, believing that these external affirmations will make us feel good about ourselves. However, this external validation is often fleeting, and it can leave us feeling insecure and dependent on the opinions of others. When we let go of the need for constant validation, we shift our focus from seeking approval to cultivating self-acceptance. We learn to value ourselves for who we are, not for how others perceive us. This internal validation is much more stable and fulfilling, as it comes from within, rather than from external sources. By releasing the need for validation, we become empowered to live authentically, make decisions based on our values, and pursue our goals without fear of judgment. This freedom from external validation is liberating, as it allows us to live our lives according to our own standards, not the expectations of others. Real life example, a random person's story. Let us take a moment to reflect on the story of Sarah, a fictional yet relatable person who, like many of us, struggled with attachments that hindered her happiness. Her journey to detachment serves as an inspiration to all who seek to live a happier, more fulfilling life. Introduction to Sarah. Sarah was an ordinary woman living in a bustling city. She had a good job, a comfortable home, and a supportive family. On the surface, her life seemed perfect. Yet, despite all her accomplishments and material wealth, Sarah felt unfulfilled. She was constantly anxious, stressed, and overwhelmed by the demands of her work and personal life. Something was missing, and she couldn't quite put her finger on what it was. Sarah had always been driven by external validation. She sought approval from her colleagues, friends, and family, believing that their recognition would bring her the happiness she longed for. She worked long hours to impress her boss, made sacrifices in her personal life to maintain relationships, and kept up appearances for the sake of others. Despite her efforts, Sarah felt empty inside. The struggles she faced. Sarah's attachment to material success was one of the primary sources of her stress. She constantly compared herself to others, always feeling like she was falling short. No matter how many promotions she received, or how much money she earned, it was never enough. She believed that true happiness would come only when she achieved more, a higher position, a bigger house, a more impressive car. Her emotional attachments were equally burdensome. Sarah held on to grudges from past relationships, clinging to the anger and hurt she had experienced. She found it difficult to forgive others, which only fueled her bitterness and resentment. The more she held on to these negative emotions, the more they drained her energy and prevented her from experiencing peace and joy. Fear of failure was another attachment that held Sarah back. She was terrified of making mistakes, of not meeting the expectations of others. This fear paralyzed her and prevented her from taking risks, trying new things, and pursuing her true passions. She was constantly afraid of rejection, which led her to play it safe and avoid situations where she might be judged or criticized. The decision to let go. One day, after another sleepless night spent worrying about work and personal matters, Sarah reached a breaking point. She realized that the way she was living was not bringing her the happiness she desired. In fact, it was doing the opposite. It was making her more anxious, stressed, and unhappy. Something had to change. Sarah began to reflect on her life and the attachments that were holding her back. She realized that she had been chasing after things that were never going to bring her lasting happiness. Her constant need for approval, her attachment to material possessions, her fear of failure, and her inability to let go of past hurt were all contributing to her unhappiness. With a newfound sense of clarity, Sarah made the decision to let go. She didn't know exactly how to do it, or what the journey would look like, but she knew that she had to start somewhere. She made the conscious decision to release the things that were weighing her down. The transformation. Letting go wasn't an overnight process for Sarah. It took time, effort, and patience. But little by little, she began to feel the weight lift off her shoulders. She started by letting go of her attachment to material possessions. She decluttered her home, sold things she no longer needed, and stopped comparing herself to others. Instead of focusing on what she didn't have, Sarah began to appreciate what she already had: her health, her family, and the simple joys of life. Next, Sarah worked on releasing her negative emotions. She began practicing forgiveness both for others and for herself. She learned to let go of past hurts and grudges, realizing that holding on to them was only hurting her. As she forgave, she felt a sense of freedom and peace that she had never experienced before. Sarah also started to confront her fear of failure. She recognized that failure was not something to be feared, but something to be embraced as part of the learning process. She took risks, tried new things, and allowed herself to make mistakes. Each failure became an opportunity for growth and self-improvement, and her confidence began to grow. Lessons learned. Through her journey of detachment, Sarah learned several important lessons that transformed her life. 1. Happiness comes from within. Sarah discovered that true happiness was not found in material possessions, external validation, or achievements. It came from within, from a place of self-acceptance, gratitude, and inner peace. 2. Letting go creates space for joy. By releasing her attachments to materialism, negative emotions, and fear, Sarah made room for joy, love, and fulfillment. She realized that happiness was not something to chase after, but something to allow into her life by letting go of what no longer served her. 3. Forgiveness is key. Forgiving others and herself was one of the most liberating experiences for Sarah. She realized that holding on to anger and resentment only kept her stuck in the past, and that forgiveness was the key to moving forward. 4. Embrace failure as part of growth. Sarah learned that failure was not something to be afraid of, but something to be learned from. She embraced failure as part of her growth journey and saw it as a stepping stone to success. 5. Self-worth is not dependent on others' approval. By letting go of the need for external validation, Sarah learned to appreciate herself for who she was, not for what others thought of her. She discovered that her worth was intrinsic, and she didn't need to seek approval from others to feel good about herself. Conclusion. Sarah's story is a powerful reminder that detachment is not just about letting go of material things, it's about releasing the attachments that weigh us down emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. When we let go, we create space for happiness, peace, and personal growth. Sarah's journey shows us that true happiness is found within, and it begins when we let go of the things that no longer serve us. Practical steps for letting go. Letting go is a process, one that requires intention, awareness, and practice. While the idea of detachment may seem simple, the journey toward releasing attachments can be challenging. However, by taking actionable steps, we can begin to free ourselves from the things that hold us back and create space for happiness. Here are some practical steps to help guide you on this transformative journey. 1. Mindfulness practices. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment without judgment. It helps us become more aware of our thoughts, emotions, and reactions, enabling us to make conscious choices rather than acting on autopilot. Mindfulness is one of the most powerful tools for letting go because it allows us to observe our attachments without being controlled by them. How to practice mindfulness? Focus on the present moment. Start by focusing on your breath. Take slow, deep breaths and pay attention to the sensations in your body. Whenever your mind wanders, gently bring your attention back to your breath. This helps you develop awareness of the present moment and reduces the influence of past attachments or future anxieties. Observe your thoughts and emotions. Instead of reacting to your thoughts and emotions, try to observe them without judgment. Acknowledge them, but don't let them define you or control your actions. With practice, you will learn to detach from negative thoughts and feelings. Cultivate gratitude. Mindfulness also involves appreciating the present moment and everything it offers. Practicing gratitude for what you have, rather than focusing on what you lack, can help shift your mindset and reduce attachments to material possessions or desires. 2. Identifying what to let go of. The first step in the process of letting go is identifying what it is that is holding you back. This may involve deep self-reflection to uncover the attachments that are causing you stress, anxiety, or unhappiness. Steps to identify what to let go. Make a list. Take some time to write down the things in your life that feel burdensome or that you feel overly attached to. These could be physical possessions, relationships, past events, or even specific outcomes you are clinging to. Evaluate the impact. Once you have identified these attachments, ask yourself, are they bringing you happiness, peace, and fulfillment? Or are they creating stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction? If the latter, it may be time to let go. Recognize limiting beliefs. Sometimes our attachments are based on limiting beliefs or fears. For example, you may feel attached to the idea of being perfect because you believe that imperfection makes you unworthy. Recognizing these beliefs can help you release them and move towards a more balanced and peaceful mindset. 3. Letting go of materialistic desires. One of the most common attachments people face is the constant desire for more material possessions. We often equate happiness with acquiring things, but true fulfillment comes from within. Steps to let go of materialism. Shift your focus to experiences. Instead of spending time and energy acquiring material possessions, focus on meaningful experiences. Travel, learn new skills, spend time with loved ones, and engage in activities that bring you joy and growth. Practice minimalism. Start decluttering your home and letting go of things that no longer serve you. Ask yourself, do I really need this item, or is it just taking up space? By simplifying your surroundings, you can create a more peaceful and focused environment. Challenge your consumerist mindset. When you feel the urge to buy something new, pause and ask yourself if it's truly necessary. Will this item bring long-term happiness, or is it just a temporary fix? Over time, you will start to realize that material possessions do not define your happiness. 4. Releasing negative emotions and forgiveness. Negative emotions such as anger, resentment, and regret can be major attachments that hold us back from experiencing peace and happiness. Letting go of these emotions requires forgiveness, both for others and ourselves. Steps to release negative emotions. Practice self-forgiveness. Start by forgiving yourself for past mistakes or regrets. Understand that you are human and everyone makes mistakes. Holding on to guilt or shame only keeps you stuck in the past. By forgiving yourself, you free yourself from the burden of emotional baggage. Forgive others. Holding on to grudges and resentment towards others can prevent you from moving forward. Forgiveness does not mean excusing the other person's behavior, but it means releasing the hold they have on your emotions. Let go of the need for justice or revenge, and choose peace instead. Let go of fear and anger. Fear and anger are powerful emotions that can hold us hostage. Identify the fears and angers that dominate your life, and take steps to confront and release them. Often these emotions are rooted in past experiences or imagined futures. Practice mindfulness, breathing exercises, or therapy to help release these emotions. 5. Letting go of unhealthy relationships. Unhealthy relationships can be some of the most difficult attachments to release. Whether it's a toxic friendship, a controlling partner, or a family member who constantly undermines you, these relationships can drain your energy and prevent you from living your best life. Steps to let go of unhealthy relationships. Recognize the signs of toxicity. Toxic relationships are characterized by manipulation, disrespect, and emotional harm. Recognize these signs and understand that you deserve better. Letting go of these relationships is not about cutting people off without reason, but about prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being. Set boundaries. If completely letting go of a relationship is not possible, set clear boundaries. Establish what is acceptable and what is not, and communicate these boundaries assertively. Boundaries help protect your energy and maintain a sense of self-respect. Prioritize your well-being. Surround yourself with people who uplift, support, and inspire you. Let go of relationships that bring negativity into your life and make space for connections that nurture your growth and happiness. 6. Releasing the need for control. The desire to control every aspect of our lives can lead to anxiety and frustration. Life is unpredictable, and trying to control everything only creates stress. Letting go of the need for control is one of the most liberating steps you can take. Steps to let go of control: accept what you cannot change. There are certain things in life that are beyond your control, such as other people's actions, the weather, or the economy. Instead of stressing over these things, focus on what you can control: your actions, your mindset, and your reactions. Practice surrender. Trust that life will unfold as it should, and let go of the need to micromanage every outcome. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting the process and having faith that things will work out in the end. Live in the present. The need for control often stems from fear of the future. By focusing on the present moment, you can let go of the anxiety that comes with trying to predict or control the future. Live fully in the now, and trust that the future will take care of itself. Maintaining happiness after letting go. Letting go of attachments is a significant step towards finding happiness, but the journey doesn't end there. Once we release the things that weigh us down, it's essential to maintain the happiness and peace that we have created. This part of the process involves building a resilient mindset, focusing on what truly matters, and continuing to practice self-care and self-awareness. Here are some essential steps to help you maintain your happiness after letting go. 1. Building a resilient mindset. After letting go of attachments, life may still throw challenges your way. Maintaining happiness requires a resilient mindset, the ability to bounce back from setbacks and face life's difficulties with grace and determination. How to build resilience: embrace change. Life is full of change, and sometimes it's easy to get overwhelmed or resistant to it. Instead of fearing change, try to embrace it as an opportunity for growth. Recognize that change is a natural part of life, and each new challenge offers a lesson or a chance to develop your strength and adaptability. Stay positive. Cultivating a positive mindset is essential for resilience. Focus on the good things in your life, even when times are tough. Practice gratitude by acknowledging the positive aspects of your life every day. This mindset shift will help you maintain optimism and hope, even in difficult times. Develop emotional agility. Emotional resilience is the ability to regulate your emotions and respond thoughtfully to difficult situations. It involves acknowledging your emotions without allowing them to overwhelm you. Practices like mindfulness and self-compassion can help you manage emotional responses and stay calm under pressure. Accept imperfection. Perfectionism can create unnecessary pressure and stress. Learn to accept your imperfections and recognize that it's okay to make mistakes. A resilient mindset is about bouncing back from mistakes and learning from them rather than beating yourself up. 2. Focusing on what truly matters. Once you've let go of things that no longer serve you, it's important to realign your life with what truly matters. This involves clarifying your values, goals, and priorities, and ensuring that your actions reflect them. How to focus on what matters. Identify your core values. Take time to reflect on what truly matters to you. What are your core values? What brings you fulfillment and purpose? By identifying these values, you can begin to prioritize your time and energy on things that align with your authentic self. Set meaningful goals. Focus on goals that are meaningful to you and will bring you long-term fulfillment. Instead of chasing superficial achievements or societal expectations, set goals that resonate with your values and passions. Simplify your priorities. Let go of the constant pressure to do it all. Simplify your priorities by focusing on a few key areas that are truly important to you. This will reduce stress and help you stay aligned with your values. Learn to say no. As you release unnecessary attachments, you may find that people or opportunities try to pull you back into old patterns. Learn to say no to things that don't align with your goals or values. Saying no is a powerful tool for maintaining focus and protecting your time and energy. 3. Practicing self-care. Self-care is essential for maintaining happiness. It's not just about pampering yourself, but about taking the time to nurture your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. When you prioritize self-care, you create a solid foundation for lasting happiness. How to practice self-care. Physical self-care. Take care of your body by eating well, exercising regularly, and getting enough sleep. Physical well-being is deeply connected to mental and emotional health. When you feel physically healthy, you are better equipped to handle life's challenges and enjoy the present moment. Mental self-care. Take time to nourish your mind by engaging in activities that stimulate creativity and promote learning. Whether it's reading, journaling, or pursuing a new hobby, mental self-care helps you grow and stay engaged with life. Emotional self-care. Practice emotional self-care by engaging in activities that bring you joy and help you relax. Surround yourself with positive, supportive people, and take time for yourself when you need it. Setting boundaries and taking breaks from stressful situations are also important for emotional well-being. Spiritual self-care. For some, spiritual practices such as meditation, prayer, or reflection provide a sense of connection and peace. Nurturing your spiritual life can offer comfort and help you stay grounded in times of uncertainty. 4. Living with purpose. Living with purpose is one of the most important ways to maintain happiness. When you have a sense of purpose, life feels more meaningful and you are more resilient in the face of challenges. Purpose is not something you need to find, it's something you create by aligning your actions with your values and passions. How to live with purpose. Clarify your purpose. Reflect on what you want your life to stand for. What kind of impact do you want to make in the world? Whether it's through your career, relationships, or contributions to your community, identifying your purpose gives you direction and focus. Align your actions with your values. Once you've identified your purpose, take steps to align your daily actions with it. This may involve making changes in your career, relationships, or lifestyle to ensure that you are living in accordance with your values and purpose. Serve others. One of the most fulfilling ways to live with purpose is by serving others. Whether it's through acts of kindness, volunteering, or supporting a cause you care about, helping others creates a sense of meaning and connection. Stay open to growth. Your purpose may evolve over time, and that's okay. Stay open to change and growth, and be willing to adjust your course as you learn more about yourself and what brings you fulfillment. 5. Continuing the practice of letting go. Maintaining happiness is not a one-time effort, it is an ongoing practice. As you continue your journey, you may encounter new attachments or challenges that require you to let go once again. The practice of detachment is not something that ends, but something that becomes a natural part of your life. How to continue letting go. Revisit your attachments periodically, reflect on your life, and assess whether you are still holding on to attachments that no longer serve you. Life changes, and what once served you may no longer be beneficial. Embrace change with flexibility. Life will continue to evolve, and so will your needs and desires. By staying flexible and open to change, you will be able to navigate new attachments and release what no longer serves you. Practice mindfulness. Regular mindfulness practice helps you stay aware of your attachments and recognize when it's time to let go again. Mindfulness also helps you stay present and avoid becoming overwhelmed by future worries or past regrets. In this journey of letting go, we have explored how detachment leads to true happiness, peace, and personal growth. It is a powerful practice that not only frees us from the burdens of materialism, negative emotions, and unhealthy relationships, but also empowers us to live authentically and joyfully. However, the journey does not end with the decision to detach. Maintaining the happiness and peace that come from detachment requires continuous practice, self-awareness, and a commitment to living with purpose. Recap of the importance of letting go. Letting go is a liberating practice. It's about releasing the attachments that bind us, whether they are material possessions, negative emotions, or unhealthy relationships. Letting go is not about being indifferent or emotionally detached, but rather about recognizing that our happiness does not depend on external factors. True happiness comes from within, and it is found in the freedom to live in the present moment, without the weight of past regrets, future anxieties, or material cravings. By letting go of these attachments, we make room for emotional freedom, personal growth, and inner peace. We stop seeking happiness in external circumstances, and instead find it in the acceptance of ourselves and our lives as they are. Letting go is not about giving up, but about choosing to release what no longer serves us in order to create space for what truly matters. Why detachment leads to happiness. Detachment is not the end goal, but a means to achieve happiness. When we detach from the things that weigh us down, we make space for peace, joy, and fulfillment. Detachment allows us to embrace life as it comes, free from the burden of expectations and attachments. It is through detachment that we can experience emotional freedom, simplify our lives, and cultivate inner peace. Happiness is not something to be pursued, but something to be allowed. It arises naturally when we let go of the things that prevent us from experiencing it. When we detach, we shift our focus from external outcomes to internal contentment. We learn to appreciate the present moment, embrace change, and cultivate self-compassion. Happiness in this sense becomes a natural byproduct of living a life aligned with our values and purpose. Final words of encouragement. The practice of letting go is not always easy, but it is worth it. It takes courage to release the things we have been holding on to, especially when they have defined our identity or given us a sense of security. However, by embracing detachment, we free ourselves to live more authentically and joyfully. We create space for love, growth, and fulfillment, and we open ourselves to the endless possibilities that life has to offer. As you continue your journey, remember that letting go is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. Life will continue to present new challenges and attachments, but with each step of detachment, you will find greater peace, resilience, and happiness. Trust the process and have faith in your ability to live a life that is not defined by external possessions or validation, but by your own inner wisdom and self-awareness. Now it's your turn to take the first step towards living a life of true happiness. Start by identifying the attachments that are weighing you down, the things that no longer serve you or bring you peace. Let go of what is no longer necessary, and make space for the things that truly matter: your health, your relationships, your passions, and your inner peace. Remember, happiness is not something to be chased, but something to be cultivated. Let go of the things that prevent you from experiencing it, and allow yourself to embrace the freedom, peace, and joy that come from living in the present moment. The path to happiness starts with letting go. Choose to live a life of detachment and watch as your world transforms.